Hi, I'm Jonathan Metter, and we're here in PIKO America Service Department, and today we want to show you some tips for assembling a PIKO building kit. We have over 200 buildings in our product line, and most of those are kits, and lots of folks love the look of the buildings and would love to have them on their railroads, but some people are a little bit afraid of getting into a kit and finding out it's more than they can handle. Really, I think as you walk through the steps with us, you'll find out that it's not difficult. Some of the kits do have a lot of pieces, but it's all very step by step. We give you great illustrated instructions, and you just follow along with those one by one, and it's all in order. And if you follow that, you come out with a great looking kit. First, we're going to show you some tools that we'd recommend. Very simple, some sheets of good solid cardboard or a piece of plywood, a small piece of plywood, just to act as a cutting surface. You'll be trimming parts off of the plastic sprues. A nice steel straight edge is handy, a file, or a piece of 220 grit sandpaper. Either one of those will work great for some very minor cleanup. A good sharp knife, a hobby knife, works well. And we do include a tube of cement in each kit. That's really mainly intended for the indoor, and that's packed in the kits because it has a long shelf life. If the kit sits on your retailer shelf for a couple years, that glue is still good. But I really recommend that instead of that, especially for outdoor use, if you're going to want to make the building last for years and years outdoors, that you use our PIKO Fix. That's number 55701. Comes in a little purple bottle, and it has a neat little needle point applicator, and it's a liquid cement, and it's made to actually dissolve and weld those pieces of the kit together. And we'll show you later on how to use that properly and get the best effect out of it. Here we have a PIKO number 62103. That's a bait and tackle shop. It's a neat little building, little cabin that comes with a dock that's supported on pontoon floats, and it even includes a little rowboat, so it would look great beside a pond on your layout. We're going to assemble this just the building itself, and we'll leave the dock off for our use today, but it's a great little kit and a good way to get you started. So we're going to As you notice, all these parts are molded in colors, and it may be a little hard to see from there, but many of the parts on PIKO building kits actually already have a light weathering coat. We put a wash over them so that they don't look so shiny, new, and plasticky. They have a natural, authentic look. So, and you'll see on another layer here underneath this cardboard, you can see there maybe more easily on the back of the wall the black wash that we've put over that to make it look weathered and natural. We've got the roof pieces there, and of course in our kit today, a nice little rowboat. All right, we'll start with step one, and you'll see the little symbol next to the one in the circle that says 2X. That means we need to build two assemblies just like that. So we're going to just follow right along with what the instructions show us. That shows us one of the end walls, and the part number is molded into it, and that's identified on the drawing right there. And unfortunately in this kit there are two of those, and they're identical, so we can't get them mixed up. And you'll find on the little sprues of parts that the numbers are molded into the part right next to the part. Take our sharp knife. We need to cut out a window for this one, so we'll cut a window off the sprue here, usually from the back, and just where you can get it flat on the surface, and just cut it out nice and clean. Might need just a little bit of cleanup, just a little bit. You can also use the file if you need to clean up the edge there just a touch. That's simple as that. We've cut out a few pieces of our window glazing material, and we'll set this aside here. And the window is made just to fit right into the onto the back of the window window frame piece. And we're just going to run a little bead of PIKO Fix. Set that window glass right down on it. And that's as simple as that. We'll cut out the foundation pieces that go on the bottom of the wall. And these little X-shaped pieces are the joiner parts that tie this together. They tie the little sections of the foundation and connect them to the bottom edge of the wall. I like to just set the window in place and then go around it with a bead of PIKO Fix, and we can just use that that needle tip applicator to make a nice, neat application. And we'll let that sit, make sure it's pressed firmly into place for a second. Let that sit for a minute or so, and then it's good to go. Okay, we've assembled our walls in prefab sub-assemblies, and they'll go together very easily once that's done. So attach the last piece of foundation to the wall here. This will be the front wall of our building. We're going to run a little bead of PIKO Fix. Those little X pieces key right in there and line things up properly. And we just have to hold that for a few seconds till the cement starts to set up. One thing you want to do on all your wall panels, especially after they've set up, especially on the main pieces, is come back over the joint from the inside with the PIKO Fix and go over that. And especially for a building that's going to be outdoors, you want to do that. Wait a half an hour or an hour till the PIKO Fix is set up, and then go over it again, even 3 or 4 times. And each time you do that, you're melting a little more of the plastic together, and that will make it into really truly one piece, so it'll last outdoors. So we've got the little top door hinge part, and we're going to put 2 little spots of glue there very carefully. You'll notice in some places that there's a little symbol of the glue tube with an X through it. That means don't put cement at those points, and particularly we're talking here about the little hinge points where the door swings, so the door will be able to swing freely. So we've already glued that, been very careful with just a couple tiny drops of glue. When we put the little top retainer in there, we'll set the door in place. We glued the door knob on already, and we'll set that in place. And the little interior floor piece is the last part, and that actually forms the bottom retainer. And again, we'll be very careful. It's got a couple little pins. We'll put some cement in there in the pinhole, and a very careful and sparing amount along the bottom edge of the wall section there, right at the floor level. And be careful not to have any excess on that. Alright, we're going to glue together the chimney next. And just a few simple pieces. We'll run a bead of PIKO Fix. There we go, and as we've been doing all along, we're building sub-assemblies that will go together in the last steps. Alright. Okay, we've glued the first 3 wall sections together here just to give you an idea, and we're ready to glue the last wall section on with our PIKO Fix, and we're going to run a bead down the corner there, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm just going to slide that right into place. And we're just going to kind of hold that building together a little bit for a minute or so, and then let it set for a few minutes while that glue sets up a little bit. And it'll still have some flex if we need to make the walls little adjustments, make sure they're perfectly square. Okay, we've let the walls set up for a bit, and next we're going to put the roof panels on. And we're going to start with a bead down the top edge of the side walls, just to attach the roof to. And this is definitely not the last gluing we will do on the roof. So, the roof has pins in it which snap into place there and help to make sure that we've got the walls together squarely. And at this point we're not even going to put any glue from one half of the roof to the other. Just gluing the edges of the walls to the underside of the roof. Okay, we will make sure that those halves of the roof are pulled tightly together, and hold that for a minute or so till things set up. Alright, we've let our building set up for a while, so the walls and roofs are joined together pretty well to hold it together for the moment. And now we're going to start going over it from the inside to reinforce those joints and really weld those pieces into one solid part. So we're going to go down the main roof seam from the inside with our PIKO fix, and we're going to check and make sure that it's pressed tightly together so that we don't get any cement running out the top. We're also going to go down each wall, down the inside of each wall with PIKO fix, and we're also going to go down the joint where the wall meets the roof. But we're going to do that several times, 3 or 4 times, and again, each time we do that, we're welding that even more solidly together into one piece. I've often heard of people using things like silicone caulk or anything that's flexible, thinking that outdoors in the sun you need to let the parts move. That's actually the exact opposite of what you want to do. As soon as those parts even move just a tiny bit and silicone caulk will flex, they will start to warp in the sun and in the heat. So the real solution is to get them glued very solidly together into one solid piece that can't come apart, and that way the roof pieces come together at an angle and brace each other. They're solidly fixed to the walls so they can't start to move, and your building will last for years and years outdoors that way. So we just have a few trim pieces to put on the building, and then going over those joints again from the inside several times, and then our building is going to be ready for many years of outdoor service. Alright, we're down to just a few pieces left. We have the front stair, so we can get in the door. We'll just run a little bead of PIKO fix along there and slide that in under the front door. And let that sit for a bit. It's a little bit delicate till it gets glued on there. And after it's set, so we can pick it up, we'll come back in and go back in from the underside and glue those joints a little more securely from the inside. Alright, our little fascia boards, the roof edge trim, actually serve on this side to provide a guide for where the chimney goes. I've got one last little piece that will go on after the chimney, so we'll just glue that in place and apply that. And we are nearing the finish of our PIKO cabin in the woods. Now we have the chimney in place, and we're down to one little piece, last little fascia board. You'll notice that you have a few pieces left over, and that's pretty common with PIKO kits because often these little sprues of parts are used for more than just one kit. So save those if you'd like to do some modifying or kit bashing, as we call it. You may want to use those parts in the future. They're handy to have. So I'm going to put a little PIKO fix on our last little bit here. And set that in place. And we're good to go. We didn't put the signs on because we're going to use this as a little cabin in the woods. Of course, for the boathouse you might want the signs, and you might even want the dock and the nice little flag post with the flag comes in the kit. That's all part of it. So, but it's got a lot of possibilities other than what it's advertised on the box as well. So, nice little cabin in the woods. Kind of makes you want to relax and enjoy the view from the cabin.